Hello and welcome to Games from Folktales, a podcast that mixes historical research and tabletop role-playing settings. This week, a fiction piece, Pastoralis, the Forbidden Comedy of Sylvester of Diedne. An overheard discussion of Marco the Redcap, recorded by his granddaughter. It is against the law to believe the story I am about to tell you. It breaches the damnatio memoriae, applied by the Quaestorus after the war. You may not, must not, believe what I am about to say to be true. Fortunately, I am widely reputed as a liar, a spinner of tales tall, and a drunkard. Hold that firmly in mind. If you do not know, if you are uncertain, then the oaths they make you take will not make your breath freeze. There was a man they called the Final Diedne after the war. Before they found the inscription of Llewellyn and the Druids became the Giblins to frighten children, his name was Silvestres, and he was taken prisoner at the Tempest. How he was held and why, well, those vary by the teller. Some say his arts were broken by the red spells, made inaccessible in the way that those of Mercure had been, perhaps. Why they insisted on keeping him is unclear, but the man who told me the story said unclear in such a sinister way it was clear he assumed I knew what he meant. I don't, though. Not for sure. Anyway, the version I'll tell you has him held by the Tremare in a place where his magic could not work, a monastery perhaps, surrounded by holy men. He may or may not have had his tongue cut out, it's not my place to say. Anyway, they kept him about, and they let people study him, and they couldn't steal his secrets. Or they could. Either doesn't matter for the thing I'm wanting to tell you. He wrote a book. It still exists. It's not hidden in a chest in the bottom of a cave with a dragon, either. I've seen copies in a lot of covenants. Often it has a different title or an odd author, but I know it. It's the Pastoralis. A lot of people have written books in prison. I've tried it myself. My book was quite good, if a bit bawdy. People like that kind of thing. Did you know Bonasagus gave a copy of Boethius to Creamun? True story. Anyway, people like comedies. One of his jailers didn't destroy it, as he should have done, as he was required to do, as he perhaps did. Some people seek out the Pastoralis and are shocked at how easy it is to find. They read the first joke, and they already know it. It has some currency in the order. It's the one about the satyr that gets caught sleeping with Titalis's wife. No, the other one. No, the other one. Yes, he has to get his own beer. Written by a Diedne, part of the plot. A lot of the anti-Tremare jokes have been adopted into the Analects of Titalis. Ever wonder why those founders go fishing so much? It's not nearly as deep as the Titalis like to make it. So it's a satire of the founders. It's everywhere, and you are required to believe it does not exist. Maybe you'll find a false copy, a book that famous. Someone would write one, would they not? A pseudo-Sylvester seems inevitable. When you find a book, perhaps quite soon, perhaps slipped into your bags while you dream, that claims to be the Pastoralis, maybe it's best to believe it's a fake. Read it anyway, it might be funny. It probably won't hurt you. It likely doesn't hold Diedne knowledge. It couldn't make you tell others about the book covertly and spread copies to the unsuspecting. That could not be the case. No book does that, can do that. That must be a story about a story about a story. That would be unbelievable. I like the idea of the Pastoralis as an illicit book simply because the Order's laws don't have a lot of gradation. I'd like some crimes which were not matters of life and death. That being said, in the notes for this podcast, you'll see the Pastoralis started up as a vessel of iniquity, a sort of contagion, a medieval meme.